the good ending?
And Silent Hill.
What's the bad ending?
Revelations. It's a very bad ending. It's the worst ending, some say.
Fuck this movie. Okay, now some of you might know that I've already done a regular review on this movie. And it was my shortest review I've done. It's like only 9 minutes. Because everything in this movie pretty much sucks.
I would go ahead and say everything in this movie doesn't fucking matter.
Let's just clarify one thing. David, this is the only thing involving Silent Hill that he's seen in its entirety.
In its entirety. I adore the Fiend, Pyramid Head. He's a boss. He's straight up a boss.
He's the most iconic character from the games, the entire series and whatnot.
I like it.
I myself am a big fan of the original film and of the video games. So we both have different ends of the spectrum when approaching this movie.
I'm a Silent Hill virgin. He's a Silent Hill slut.
Very much so. I would whore myself out to Silent Hill. Because even though with all of its faults and all of the defects that the game series has, as well as the first movie, they're good. They're scary as shit. The first movie I think is legitimately a really good film. And you get a lot of Pyramid Head in that, and he's effective in that movie. This movie,
You want me to?
there's
I can. I can try.
the plot, they return to Silent Hill.
Well, there's more to it than that.
There is, but is it worth even saying?
I will have 30 seconds on this
All right,
one.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, go. All right. There's the girl named Heather. Heather. Okay.
He goes by the name Sharon at the end of the movie.
There you go, Sharon. So she does stuff, and she goes to Silent Hill to rescue her dad, and they run into some demons and stuff, and she's apparently some Messiah, new God thing or something. They never really made that much clear. Hold on. And then a battle between Pyramid Head and this other demon lady because new God or something, and then Sean Bean doesn't die. There you go. I know I wasn't very informative, but not a lot happened.
Alright. Now the thing is, though, they're taking a lot of elements from the games, and you'll definitely be able to see it when it involves with the creatures and the areas and whatnot. Like, they have a mannequin section that was supposed to feature Pyramid Head. And
if you haven't seen Pyramid Head, mannequin rape. Type those 3 words into the search bar wherever the fuck YouTube has it.
Yeah, yeah, go for it. We'll wait a second.
Dude, did you see that shit?
Yeah, I know, right?
Fuck.
But that's not what this movie has.
No.
Alright, let me just say a thing about this. When it comes down to the production of this movie was written and directed by Michael J. Bassett. He's a really good director. He also did the movie Solomon Kane with James Purefoy. It's a really, really good hack and slash horror film and whatnot. It's really, really good. And also, he did the movie Death Watch, which is decently directed. I mean, his directing talent is definitely shown. But this movie, because the first one is written by Roger Avery. He is the one who co-wrote a lot of the stories behind Pulp Fiction, and also he wrote and directed the movie The Rules of Attraction. This guy is really good at writing. But he was in jail for vehicular manslaughter, so they had to get somebody else. And I thought that Michael J. Bassett was a great idea, because when I first saw the trailers for this movie, I was actually pretty pumped. I'm like, yay, they're finally doing more for the series, and it's been like almost 10 years since the last one, so it's been a while. And Sean Bean's in it, like, yay, and whatnot, maybe we'll finally see some more. I also found out that Malcolm McDowell is in this fucking movie. Yes. But then I saw the movie. This is only the second time I've actually seen this film.
You good? Okay. I wanted to let him rant as much as possible. I'm surprised he's not more into it.
Oh, I could get so much more. Let's break this down like we usually do.
Well, hold on. I want to give my thing.
Yeah, go for
real quick. Okay, so not having seen anything, never being a Silent Hill fan. I'm not actually a horror fan, really. But this maybe horror. More of an action movie.
It's definitely trying.
Oh, it's trying so hard. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but the problem being, I have seen parts of the original Silent Hill movie. Like, I know for a fact that one critically was like, but it had cult following now. That's all one. So, I definitely enjoyed a lot of what I saw. It wasn't, was it, like, certainly some bit of camp at times. There was some weird bits to it. But then, like, there's the scene where Pyramid Head comes up, and I don't know if it's a spoiler, really, but he comes up, he lifts up a woman, and he just, like, tears off her clothes, and I'm like, damn. And then he tears off her skin, it's like, damn!
Then he throws her at the door, and blood splatters everywhere.
I was a fan of Pyramid Head beforehand, because just, I knew the internet occasionally posted him, and I was like, that man, that demon spawn, he is something. But, no, overall, I didn't care to watch this movie, only because it didn't, wasn't so involved in the first one that the second one felt like it was, oh my god, I gotta see more Pyramid Head. No, I get enough of that on YouTube. So, then I saw Matt's original review. Didn't intend on ever watching it after that. Because, not saying everything that this guy says is gospel, I'm just saying, if he says something sucks, like really, really, really bad, he might be over-exaggerating, but it has to at least suck a little bit. Overall, though, this movie, I'm really glad that we picked it, only because I'm really fucking tired. And any other bad movie would have put me to sleep. This one, however, it had just enough action spread very far apart, mind you, that I was interested. And by the end, when it was just Pyramid Head showing up a lot, I was like, yes, you have me. You've kept me now.
Okay. There are 4 instances when you see Pyramid Head, but we'll get to that in a second. You see him in the first scene, and then you see him in the same setup later on, but we'll talk about that in a second. First, acting.
Acting. Alright. Main girl. He's okay.
It's okay. Now, compared to
I was going to say, you got the
one who played Alessa in the original film, she's good. She's very good.
Wait, who?
The one who played the original.
The original was good. Okay.
Yeah, she was good. She was a good child star. She was a very good casting choice. And when she had to play the Alessa opposite role, the evil person, she did a really good job. I was actually really surprised. She was one of the main things that held the movie together for me. This, she's okay, but nothing special. And her Alessa makeup looks fucking stupid.
It looks like, okay, you know that.
She looks like she's trying to either be a Marilyn Manson fan or a juggalo.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like, the best way I can think to put it is, if you've ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, there is the one evil ex that's a girl. She has, like, some makeup on, just like some black makeup, like war paint almost. But if you just, like, make her face paler and give her black hair, that's it. That's her right there. It is 100% exactly what she looks like.
No.
And she's like, I'm eviler than you. I'll hug you to death.
Now, the original makeup design in the first one. All right, I will have to say, because I'm talking about the differences and whatnot. The overall visual setup of this film is just wrong. At least in my view, when it comes down, especially if you compare it to the original, especially, but when not comparing to the original, standing it by itself, the color palette always disagreed with me. The color correction was very flat, it's supposed to be gray and whatnot, especially when you're in Silent Hill, but now it's not supposed to be overly gray and very pale when you're not in Silent Hill. The rest of the world, everything has the exact same color palette.
Yeah, I'll get that.
And so the thing is, though, there's no great jump. Like, in the original film, the colors were very vibrant when they were not in Silent Hill. Everything was very, very bright and very stark in contrast. That's why when Silent Hill and everything gets gray and everything blends together, that's why it has a bigger effect on you.
Right.
So...
I'm going to fight that point, though. The entire time, like, throughout the entirety of the film, this girl is having, like, flashes to Silent Hill. She's seeing, like, the demon shit, and she's seeing just insane shit going on. She never fully gets there, but she's flashing to it. I mean, she gets there in the end, of course.
I get that.
But do you think that is... they kept it darker and grayer because there never really was a normal world to her. It was always sort of Silent Hill.
If we only followed her,
true. There are
we would.
There are points
that.
where it's just Sean Bean talking,
or it's not just. It's not her. It's also
Vincent.
Vincent, yeah, the guy, or it's the sister, the ringleader of, which is bullshit. By the way,
Hold on,
I call shenanigans. I call shenanigans.
So Sharon, Alessa, whatever, she is okay. Sean Bean's character.
He has less character. Alright, in the original, he had all of his screen time had a purpose.
Yeah.
All of his screen time, a primary amount of his screen time in this film is him chained to a statue.
Yes, that's why I thought Sean Bean had to die, because he was like halfway there.
And obviously, the way that this movie ends, they're trying to set it up for a new film, but I seriously doubt that they're going to make a new film. I don't think they were trying to set it up for...
If they were trying to set it for a new film, it would be completely different.
No, because the way that the old film ends, too, is with Rose and Heather in Silent Hill still, and Sean Bean in the real world, and it never shows the transition of her getting out of Silent Hill. And so, the thing is, though, like, they were able to jump a bit, even though I think it was bull.
Yeah.
I think that, to be honest... See, I understand because it's taken 10 years to make another film that it's hard to, like, you can't use the same actor, especially when it comes down to the child actor.
That was the same thing.
Because she's grown up. I get that. I understand
You were saying that earlier about, like, why isn't it the same child actor? Like,
no, I didn't say why. I didn't say why. When it's just the fact of the matter is that because, especially because they have another child actress playing the younger version of Alessa, and she's not as good.
She's only in, like, 3 things, though.
I know,
she
but
only
still,
appears like 3 times.
At the same time, though, it doesn't leave the impact of the original one. And also, there was a lot of stuff from the... I remember from the trailers that there was a lot of crap that was left out.
Would you rather they CGI'd in a copy of the original girl?
No.
Exactly.
Even though the majority of... This movie is so much... Ironically enough, there is so much more CGI in this movie than I think there was in the first one.
Alright.
And that's saying a lot, because the first one had a shit ton of CGI in it, but the thing is, at the same time, it was effective.
Right. Well, let's get to that, but real quick. Skim over real quick, just a few words. Vincent, his acting?
He wasn't bad. I mean, like, you know, I thought he was a little too hysterical at times.
Yeah.
And, like, overdone. And then also
there was one part where he revealed that he was, like, the son of the Order or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the son of the Order. I was like, wow, that, you could have toned it down.
It's just kind of like that scene in, the Language of the Wardrobe, where Mr. Thomas is like when he's about to try to kidnap her, it's like like that was intense because he's whispering.
He's like, I am the son of the Order. See my scars. So after that, last one, because nobody else really mattered, but Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
He wasn't in it much.
Yeah, which is a bloody shame because, you know, it's Malcolm McDowell. He should have been the bad guy. He should have been the main bad guy in this besides Pyramid Head. Even better, he should have had a showdown with Pyramid Head at the end. That would have been awesome.
Here's what I think happened. I think he was the original bad guy. But then there was a contract dispute where they just went over their time on what was allowed with, like, Malcolm McDowell. So, like, shit. Look, can we just, like, still keep you...
To be honest, actually, Malcolm McDowell isn't all that expensive.
Well, now...
I mean, like, he's great. I love Malcolm McDowell. I think he's one of the greatest actors living today. But
He's
at the
gone
same
down to Lance Henriksen's.
well, no, he's always been that way. You know, he's just acts in a crap ton of movies. He acted in Tank Girl,
Milk Money.
Milk Money. Yes, exactly. I'm going to the soccer. But the thing is, he definitely enjoys himself in this role at least and whatnot. And he's memorable in every role. But then again, at the same time, he plays the same. He plays the role the same way all the time.
You could probably take the footage from this.
The malevolence.
You could take the footage from this movie and overdub it with like some Clockwork Orange dialogue, and it would work. The stuff about like ultraviolence or whatever, it would be like. Better yet, when he's dragging.
Oh bliss! Oh bliss in heaven! Oh gorgeousness and gorgeosity!
When he's dragging her out, when he's like in his monster form now, as he's dragging her out, have the singing in the rain part.
I'm singing in the rain. Just singing in the rain.
That would be wonderful.
That would be fantastic.
I guess this fits into character-wise because he's kind of a character. Pyramid Head, we had fun with him. Because there's one part. Oh, I had to.
Well, let's go. All right, the first.
Has hope. Okay.
The first scene that you actually see him introduced in is actually in the last half hour of the movie.
It's one of those flash forward sort of things, except it was a dream scene.
Well, no, that was in the very beginning of the movie. Now I'm talking about the second one because the very beginning of the movie is the same thing as the third one. So I'll let you take that
first time.
Yeah, well, I'll let you take that one, but. The thing is, the second time you see him is when they're in, like, this silent thing. It was right after the Malcolm McDowell thing. He just turned to dust because she pulled his disc out of him and whatnot.
Long story, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, as Heather's walking down she keeps getting grabbed by, apparently, these inmates that are in this asylum, and they're apparently there's one in every cell. And Pyramid Head's walking down, and he's dragging his sword, and he's chopping the arms off. And, like, yay, Pyramid Head, yeah. And he's there. Off. He's there for like 2-3 minutes.
He walks off and she goes to do something else and it's like, go back.
No, you go back to him. And then a few minutes later...
Real quick, there was a scene with mannequins that we talked about before.
Yeah.
The Pyramid Head raping them. We told you to YouTube it. If you didn't, he rapes mannequins because he's lonely and he just wants a friend.
No, it's because he fucking rapes what he wants to fucking rape.
There was a mannequin. There was a whole thing of mannequins. It was like that exact scene. They were setting it up, but they realized they were setting it up. So instead, I don't know if they created a new monster or they used one from the game.
I don't remember.
But it was just this thing made up of mannequins that like turned people into
mouth.
Mannequins.
Yeah.
It was like, and then it was just mannequins, and then they just ran out of the room and never saw it again, which was kind of a letdown, especially since it was all CGI and it was so pandering to the 3D.
It was. We'll talk about the 3D in a bit. I bitched about the 3D before, but now this is the first time I've seen it without the 3D glasses.
So, the third Pyramid Head, they're on this. It's a dream sequence also, but it was a dream sequence. Now it's real. It's hard to explain.
Dreamception. Or just Inception.
Yeah, really, Dreamception. That's just Inception. They have this weird carousel. And
it's merry-go-round.
It's the same.
I know.
So then, Pyramid Head, he's like grinding away at these gears, making it turn. Like he's the one turning it, and then it grinds.
They're going really fast too.
And then it grinds down underneath the ground, and that's how they get into the sanctuary for like the final fight thing. And then Pyramid Head fights in the final fight. It's super badass because he's fighting this other demon chick that we don't like at all.
Well, we'll talk about that scene in a second.
That is awesome. This scene in particular, though. I don't know why it popped in my head, but he's like grinding away at this, and it cuts him every once in a while. And I was like, I wonder what he's thinking right now. And all I can think is, because he's spinning around, and he's just like, yay, I'm having fun. I'm like, I've just ruined that character for myself. Damn it.
Yeah, but they ruined the character for the fact that he's spinning a carousel.
I don't know. He was all chained up with hooks and stuff.
Yeah,
it was
why?
Pretty hard because
no, you can't capture fucking Pyramid Head.
Because Pyramid Head is fucking BDSM shit. Think of it.
You can't capture fucking Pyramid Head.
You can't, and that's always an issue. So then the final fight.
They also missed something with Pyramid Head. They missed the pool of roaches that are in front of his feet in the original film.
I forgot about that.
You're right. Like, that's one of the reasons why it was so hard for him to walk, because he has to push his way through that shit.
It would cost too many extra dollars for their CGI budget, which was already 95% of their budget.
And also, it still sucked. Yeah. I mean, when they went into Silent Hill, I'm like, oh my god, everything is so fucking CGI. It wasn't that bad in the first one. The first one's like, all right, you definitely know that there's elements of some CGI.
Set. The fog may have been a little bit CGI, but there was definitely some fog there. Monsters were CGI for the most part.
The nurses, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, they were their own thing. But yeah, in the original, it wasn't a lot of CGI, except when it absolutely was necessary. This one's like, okay, we want this monster to jump, and it's way too hard to do that with a guy inside. So,
it's really obvious when they are using a set, though.
CG do it. Oh yeah, it is.
It's so painfully obvious. See, the original one blended elements from both CGI and the green screen sets with real sets, so everything blended together nicely. This one, the difference is stark. It's unbelievably... Bleh.
Yeah, you can tell when they exit. They were like, she was hiding in a corner in one thing, which you are meant to believe that she's going down into the next level. But you can tell she's just like hiding in a corner. Then they changed the sets, and then she just went down to the next level.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good.
The editing is very poor in this movie.
I wouldn't say the...
I think it was, especially in the scene involving Pyramid Head fighting and whatnot, because you can barely see anything that's going on. All right, the main villain of the humans,
the white bitch.
Yeah, we'll just call her the white bitch because I don't know what the fuck her name is. She's apparently the sister of the original leader of all the fanatics in the first film,
Mother of Vincent.
which she was really the original one in the first film. I can never remember the actress's name. I apologize. She was in Deadwood as well. She's a very good actress, and she plays villains very well. And what happened to her was terrifying. But in this one, again, the little girl absorbs Alessa into her, so they become one. And then she goes out, and she has the talisman in her hand, and when she goes to grab it, Alessa goes into her and turns her into what she really looks like. With this villain with saw blades on her head, and she's got these swords and whatnot.
Hellraiser.
And she goes to strike her, and Pyramid Head shows up. It's like, boom. Like, alright, why? I mean, Alessa's technically absorbed into Heather now, so they're one person. So the thing is, though, Alessa's no longer there. She's no longer a conscious entity.
But I feel as though Pyramid Head is like protective of Alessa.
But also the thing is, though, Alessa herself is different than the demon. That was the way it was in the first one, too, because Alessa was still a person.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Alessa was still a person strapped to a bed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember? She was still alive.
But I'm going to stop you right there. You're assuming this movie has watched the first movie.
Continuity!
Alright, so
if you're going to make movies in a in any series, you need a continuity. Especially if you're using the same fucking actors. Because Radha Mitchell and Sean Bean from the first movie are used in this one.
Learn something, Avalar.
So is the mother of Alessa in this movie. Even though she's only in one scene. As soon as Heather gets to Silent Hill, she's there and then she's gone. She's
I'm
like,
telling you, man, it's payment issues. Moving on after that, let's talk about the CGI, just as a whole.
The CGI.
We already talked mostly about it. Like, we talked about how
and also it mixed together with the 3D.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, let's do that.
All right,
CGI first, and then we'll talk about 3D exploitation. CGI as a whole, as we've said, is shit. It is on par, would you say, with Star Wars Episode 1?
Probably.
Star Wars Episode 1 CGI. You can tell they put some effort into it.
But Star Wars CGI had more practical effects than this shit.
It just stands out too much. You know you're looking at CGI.
It's not even a really well-rendered CGI.
Except Pyramid Head. But I will stop talking
and to be honest, actually, even him at times was like...
But he's there. He's so... fuck.
Especially when he's fighting with the thing at the end of one, and all of a sudden the blade that becomes so that was originally so goddamn heavy, he's just like, I'm like, no.
I'm sorry.
Violating the rules of the world here.
You're assuming they know the rules of the world.
If the way that he drags the sword and whatnot, it's not because the NPC character just goes back to default on that and whatnot. The original reason why the character was to do that is because the fucking sword is goddamn heavy. And even though Pyramid Head is like the boss demon around here, besides the one that took over Alessa, this goddamn thing still has normal fucking arms.
Keep in mind, it has been 10 years. He might have worked out.
10 years? between the events in the last movie. That thing has been there for over 30, 50. I can't remember exactly the time.
Maybe he realized that he needed to work out. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. No. Okay. 3D exploitation. Stop it.
The 3D in this movie is bad.
3D exploitation.
Even by 3D standards.
This is my blade. This is how you do it in this movie. Shing! That's.
And then you do it again just because you need to.
What's that? The mannequin monster is a thing? Okay, well, let's have him, like, get really close to the camera and then open his face up and then the mouth does something too.
Mouth does something Blade 2-ish.
Yes. That will be incredible.
And guess what?
It wasn't.
It was not.
It was anti-incredible.
The only time that they ever used practical effects and not with a CGI twist is in the scene with the nurses. Now, the nurses are the second most creepy thing in...
Second most iconic.
Iconic, creepy thing in Silent Hill. Especially mainly because of the way that they move. And the way that they are attracted to light and sound and all that jazz. But, the thing is, in this movie, this scene was actually pretty taut, too. It was really well put together.
Yes. We had Vincent strapped to a hospital bed. 2 of the little guard guys were already murdered because they couldn't shut up for 10 seconds. And now Vincent's sitting there. He's strapped to the bed. He's trying to undo the shackles or whatever, but every time he moves, they... And so he's like, well, fuck.
And then Heather shows up.
You sure her name is Heather?
Yeah.
I never remember hearing Heather. I remember Sharon, I remember Alessa, but I never remember... No, Heather was the girl who was having a birthday party.
Oh.
She was just some random side character, and then the thing turned around and said, happy birthday, Alessa.
I was pretty sure.
No, she was never named
Well,
Heather.
here.
Told you, bitch. Because I know I'm right. So, yeah. In the end, though, yeah, it was the nurses were just, like, they were only attracted to sound. So then Heather, Alessa,
They had a really nice
Sharon,
shot, too.
Whatever. Oh, yeah, they did. There was a thing where they, as the guards entered, all of them, like, looked towards the door, and then one just popped up. And it was like, oh, fuck. You can tell it was for the 3D, obviously. But, so the...
No, the shot I was talking about was...
Oh, that crane one, right?
No, it wasn't a crane shot.
Yeah, that's
no,
right.
it was this... still had one...
The literal dolly shot.
Yeah, it's like he still had an arm attached to the gurney, and he ended up tipping over to avoid it, and the camera went along with the gurney.
I know what you're talking about.
That was a really fun shot. There was one other one that was good. That was actually when she stood up. Yeah, it is Sharon. Sorry. It's like she stood up. It was like where this post was, and she was in the carnival area and whatnot. She was like dead center of the scene. This shot. I'm like, oh, that was a really good shot too. 2 good shots in the whole movie. One reason more to hate the fucking thing.
But yeah, overall, the nurses, they were the practical effect. All of them had makeup. They were all, from what I could... Okay. I just want to bring this up. Every time they would stop moving, you'd just be like, freeze frame!
Freeze frame!
It was, because they were just like, it was almost random. It was obviously when no more sound was being made, but the fact of when they decided when sound wasn't being made and when it was almost random, like what their threshold was. So occasionally just like, they're stabbing these guys, and they're just... And then, what's his name, Vincent would jiggle his wrist thing.
Freeze frame!
Exactly. It was funny to say.
I mean, like, and I get that, but...
We know how to ruin these creatures. They're scary, and we say, freeze frame, or and we're just like, oh, they're not scary anymore.
Well, also the problem is, though, is that you can't take the tone of the movie seriously.
Yeah, that's
because it's trying to be scary, and at points and whatnot, you think it almost might get there, but then it doesn't.
That's why I'm not that big.
See, think about this.
Or
when Pyramid Head is actually first introduced, if my memory serves me right, and how he is first introduced in the first movie, Radha Mitchell, as Rose, she's running and whatnot, and then all of a sudden she stops. This is just when it turns to darkness and for the first time. And whatnot, and it's oozy and dripping and whatnot. And the second one and whatnot is like, well, your screensaver's loading. But like, and then all of a sudden she just stops, and you just see all of these like fucking roaches and whatnot just spreading out all over the place. And you just see him, his hand around the corner, and him just dragging his sword. I'm like, holy shit! So she goes into a room, she shuts it, and like bolts it shut, and then all of a sudden. And this was a practical effect, too. This giant fucking sword just slices through the door, and then he just starts working it out, and then all the insects start coming. That's fucking scary.
That's terrifying.
But guess what? No, nothing like that.
Not like this. No. This one is just like lopping off arms, lopping off arms.
Just like Dave working at the asylum. It's almost like they had chained him up, like they were using him as their the order and whatnot, where you had like been able to capture him. Like, fuck no, you can't capture Pyramid Head.
It's almost like he was being used as a tool to simply get more people to show up. Filmmakers. Okay, we have talked far too long about general things.
All right,
so,
final words.
No, not final words. We just final thing I wanted to talk about.
All right.
You made a comment about the music.
The music. Alright. The original film had a great score. I love the music in it. And also I love the theme. Because it was a variation off of the game's music. And the game had great music. Especially the 7th one. If you haven't played the 7th one, definitely watch that. That's really good music. But the first one had a great score, and they took parts of it, especially the theme, and put it into this movie. Which, to be honest, actually it's a great piano theme and all that kind of stuff, and it does add a great amount of ambience. But guess what?
You don't do that.
You don't touch that music.
That's like if some guy was to make an extremely shit or a shit sequel to like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I know 2010 Year We Made Contact has been made to a movie. Well, let's say that.
I heard it was good, but the thing is, though, I like 2001 to a point where
let's say that somebody made a really shit 2010, the year we made contact. Let's say someone made a really shit version, and they opened up with the iconic da 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 da, and it was shit, like absolute terrible.
It was like CGI too, so it was like whoa, whoa. There's a big explosion. It's all Terrence Malick.
3D's just popping out constantly.
And all of a sudden, like, there's popcorn, and all of a sudden, AMC. But,
what is that?
Just because.
Because why not?
Because why
that's
not?
essentially what this kind of equates to. You got the really good theme from the really good movie, according to Matt. I still have yet to watch all of it at once.
We'll do a comparison sometime.
There you go. But then you just take that and you move it on over to this one, and it's like, oh, come on. You're just staining the song now.
It's just, no. And I don't even know if really, I don't know how much of the original crew on the first movie worked on this movie. Because, I mean, there were certain elements that were similar, but at the same time, though, like, the tone, the feeling of the movie was not the same. I mean, obviously it was done by a different director and a different writer.
Everybody has their own different take on what's scary.
Yeah, and I mean, but the thing is, though, so Michael J. Bassett knows what's scary, though, because Solomon Kane had a horror element to it. There were some genuinely scary parts of that movie until the giant CGI monster showed up. But to be honest, it was
a pattern.
It was a pretty decent CGI monster, though, and also it wasn't around for too long, so it's okay. But this movie, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. It's really bad. I mean, from not even being affiliated with the series, it's bad.
Make your final thoughts.
Alright, final thoughts is, my general impression is the exact same as when I first watched this movie. It's a little bit better because I got to see the couple scenes in there that at least had some redeeming features, like the nurses and the fighting with Pyramid Head at the end and all that shit.
The first time he was watching, he was just too enraged.
I didn't pay fucking attention to anything after a certain point. I'm like, I'm so done with this movie, but I paid for the ticket, I'm gonna sit through it. I still don't even recommend this movie to be seen on Netflix just for, like, you know, if you want to, like, look at a bad movie to make fun of. Nah, it's a tedious watch. It's fucking infuriating. And if you're a fan of the series, then you're going to hate this. I mean, a lot of fans of the game series hated the first one because of, you know, various reasons.
Because it had to be an adaptation.
Yeah.
It couldn't just directly copy over because Silent Hill had multiple endings and shit like that. It got the
Not even
player...
that. Silent Hill is there's a lot of games.
Yeah, it got the player involved. You can only do that so much when you're doing this, you control what you see on the screen. When you're doing this, just watching,
you have to take what they give you.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of gamers, if they would have
They're
played...
going in dry and you have to bite the pillow.
That's a good final thought there.
Yes. But it really... If you love Silent Hill, if you love anything about the concept of Silent Hill, stay the fuck clear of this movie, because it's just gonna piss you off.
I don't know how to come after that, because I liked Pyramid Head. I really did. He was so cool. I know it's just... if someone were to make a cut...
But how did they use Pyramid Head? How well did they use Pyramid Head?
They used Pyramid Head not to his fullest potential. I will admit that. He could have been so much more.
He also was fucking scarier in the first one.
He was scary. Everything was scarier in the first one. I will give you that. It was just a general feeling of unease throughout the entire first one because you didn't know what to expect. This one, however, it felt more formulaic.
Extremely so.
I will give you that, especially since I'm pretty sure it was only made because, oh, what IPs do we own? Silent Hill. Have we not touched that?
I was looking forward to the sequel. I really was. You let me down. You let one of the bigger fans of the fucking story down.
So, overall, they could have done so much more, but not having a Silent Hill background, not being so attached to these games, or the previous movie even. Holding this movie on its own, I will say it's not dreadful. It's not a great movie. It's not something that people would be like, this is what video game movies are.
The first one was.
The first one, I will take
in my opinion.
I will take your word for it. But in this one, it felt like it was a very modest attempt. Modest is the correct word. It was a modest attempt at doing a sequel. It failed on many accounts. I don't know how much money it made, but I'm pretty sure they were just like...
Didn't make much back.
Didn't make? Okay, then never mind.
At least if I remember correctly.
I thought it would be a studio paycheck, but apparently it wasn't even that. So, I'm sorry, fans of Silent Hill. I'm sorry, Matt, that this movie was made. But as it was made, and you guys didn't like it, for general people who are just looking for random... You know what this is? If you're like hanging out with some girl you're hoping to get with, and you're like, you don't want anything too scary, but you want something that she'll cuddle up to next. And you'll be like, hey.
I don't know how well the mood's going to be after watching this.
The mood will be terrible if you're actually watching the film. But if you just
and
watch...
if you're getting a hard-on watching this movie, there's something wrong with you.
If you watch like the first 20 minutes...
Cece, get some help.
Then leave. There you go. If you watch the entire film with your date, I'm sorry, she's not calling.
You're never getting laid. No, you gotta start moving in within the first 5 minutes.
Because that has scary elements up to that point. So you're set.
It does and whatnot. And there's already people being tortured and shit like that. And
so go ahead and do that for only that reason. Any other time, watch it if you fast forward to the Pyramid Head parts. We told you what parts.
Just find those on YouTube.
Halfway through, ending. There you go. You don't even need to watch all of it. He's kind of apparent when he's on screen. You'll notice.
You
search bar.
They almost try to reveal his identity at the end of it, and that fucking sucked.
I don't think they ever would have done that.
No, I don't know. Maybe he was fighting for it. Saying, no,
they opened it up and it's Malcolm McDowell underneath. All right.
I was Pyramid Head all along.
That's it. Matt, what's going on? Matt, it's dark and I'm scared. Matt, I don't know where I am. Matt, is this hell? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Matt, is that you?